In 1995, Princess Diana confronted a woman at a Christmas party with an accusation so explosive that lawyers got involved. That woman was Tiggy Legge-Bourke, the nanny Charles hired to care for William and Harry. Diana hated Tiggy. She believed Tiggy was trying to replace her as the boy's mother. She suspected the relationship with Charles went beyond professional. And in 2021, we learned something devastating. Martin Bashir had lied to Diana, fueling her paranoia with forged documents. Tiggy received damages from the BBC, but the damage to Diana was already done. Tiggy knows exactly what Diana said about her and what Diana accused her of in front of witnesses. Now she's finally ready to respond. Number 1. The woman Charles chose. In 1993, shortly after Charles and Diana formally separated, the Prince of Wales made a decision that would haunt Princess Diana until the day she died in that Paris tunnel. He hired Alexandra Tiggy Legge-Bourke as a companion to look after William and Harry during his custody time with the boys. Tiggy was 28 years old, blonde and energetic, full of life and enthusiasm. She came from impeccable aristocratic stock. Her father had served with distinction in the Royal Horse Guards, and her mother, Shan, would later become a lady-in-waiting to Princess Anne herself. Before joining the royal household, Tiggy had run her own nursery school in London's Battersea, called Mrs. Tiggywinkle's, named after the Beatrix Potter character. She knew children intimately. She understood their emotional needs, and she would come to know William and Harry better than almost anyone outside their immediate family during their most difficult years. Number 2. The favorite nanny. Prince Harry would later write about Tiggy in his explosive memoir, Spare, with obvious fondness and deep gratitude for what she meant to him during his childhood. Our favorite nanny, Harry called her warmly, though Tiggy couldn't stand being called that. She'd bite the head off anyone who tried to use that word. "I'm not the nanny," she would insist. "I'm your friend. That's what William and Harry genuinely saw her as, not a servant hired to watch them, not an employee doing a job, a genuine friend who happened to be paid to spend time with them. Tiggy took them riding across the countryside. She taught them to shoot. She organized outdoor adventures that gave them a precious taste of normal childhood. In the chaos of their parents' collapsing marriage and constant warfare, she offered something irreplaceable: stability, fun, and unconditional affection. But Diana saw something very different when she looked at this blonde, energetic young woman spending so much time with her sons. Number 3, the rivalry begins. From the very moment Tiggy entered the princes' lives, Diana was deeply suspicious of her motives and her relationship with Charles. "I give them what they need at this stage," Tiggy reportedly said of William and Harry during an interview. "Fresh air, a rifle, and a horse. She gives them a tennis racket and a bucket of popcorn at the movies." That comparison was absolutely devastating to Diana. Tiggy positioning herself as offering the boys a traditional aristocratic upbringing with outdoor pursuits. Diana reduced to Hollywood entertainment, junk food, and theme park visits. Two competing visions of motherhood playing out in the press for everyone to judge. Diana's jealousy intensified dramatically when photographs emerged of Charles greeting Tiggy warmly at public events, kissing her on the cheek with what seemed like genuine affection. The intimate images fed tabloid speculation about just how close the future king was to the attractive young woman caring for his sons. Number 4, the unforgivable words. And then Tiggy made what Diana considered an absolutely unforgivable mistake that could never be taken back. She referred to William and Harry as my babies. 2 words, just 2 simple words spoken casually. But for a mother already feeling replaced and marginalized, already watching her husband shower attention on another woman named Camilla, those 2 words were a declaration of war. Diana was fighting desperately for her place in her sons' lives. She was terrified of being pushed out, of becoming irrelevant, of watching another woman take over her sacred role as their mother. And here was Tiggy, casually claiming Diana's precious children as her own. The rivalry that had been simmering beneath the surface for months exploded into open and bitter hostility. Number 5, Diana's darkest suspicions. As 1995 progressed, Diana's fears about Tiggy became increasingly extreme and increasingly divorced from any observable reality. According to Patrick Jepson, Diana's devoted private secretary, the princess developed an increasingly lurid fantasy picture of Tiggy's private life during this period. No man in the prince's entourage was safe from her suspicions, including the prince himself. Diana didn't just suspect Tiggy of getting too close to her sons. She suspected Tiggy of having an actual affair with Charles. She genuinely believed Tiggy was being deliberately groomed as her replacement, not just as a mother figure to the boys, but as Charles's future wife. Mummy saw Tiggy not as a nanny, but as a rival, Harry wrote in Spare with the clarity of adult understanding. It's common knowledge that Mummy suspected Tiggy was being groomed as her future replacement. Number 6. The Mishcon Note. In October 1995, Diana's fears reached their absolute peak. She arranged a private meeting with her lawyer, Lord Mishcon, and shared predictions that would later be documented in what became known as the Mishcon Note. Diana predicted that Charles would eventually set aside both her and Camilla in favor of Tiggy Legge-Bourke, that she herself would die in a staged car accident arranged by dark forces, that the whole conspiracy was orchestrated by the establishment to clear Charles's path to a suitable new wife. These weren't idle worries expressed casually in passing conversation. Diana believed them completely and wanted them formally documented by her lawyer. She wanted a record in case something happened to her. The paranoia had taken complete hold of her mind, but what Diana didn't know, what she would never live to learn, was that her darkest suspicions were being deliberately inflamed by someone with his own selfish agenda. Number 7. The Bashir manipulation. Martin Bashir, the ambitious BBC journalist seeking the interview that would become television history, had carefully identified Diana's psychological vulnerabilities. He knew about her deep fears regarding Tiggy, and he exploited those fears ruthlessly and without any apparent conscience. According to the Dyson report published in 2021, Bashir used deceitful behavior to secure the famous Panorama interview that shocked the world. He showed Diana forged documents suggesting that people close to her were being paid by British intelligence services to spy on her every move. But his manipulation went even further into truly despicable territory. Bashir allegedly spread false rumors about an alleged affair between the then Prince Charles and the babysitter Tiggy Legge-Bourke. News reports revealed after the Dyson investigation finally exposed his methods. He even showed Diana a completely fake abortion receipt, a fabricated document he had created suggesting Tiggy had become pregnant by Charles and had secretly terminated the pregnancy. Diana believed it all. Every forged document, every invented rumor, every lie Bashir fed her. Number 8. The Christmas confrontation. By December 1995, Diana was ready to strike at the woman she now believed had committed the ultimate betrayal against her. The annual Christmas party for the joint staff of the Prince and Princess of Wales was held at London's five-star Lanesborough Hotel on December 14th. Despite their separation, Charles and Diana still maintained a shared office and staff, and this was the traditional chance for their employees to celebrate the holiday together. According to multiple eyewitness accounts documented in royal biographies, what happened next became one of the most disgraceful and shocking episodes in the entire War of the Waleses. Diana strode purposefully across the room toward Tiggy. When she got close enough for others to hear, she said loudly, "So sorry to hear about the baby." Horror paralyzed Tiggy's face, Paul Burrell wrote in his book A Royal Duty describing the scene. Tears welled in her eyes and she left the room immediately, accompanied by Prince Charles's valet, Michael Fawcett. Number 9. The accusation. The implications of Diana's carefully chosen words were unmistakable to everyone present at that Christmas party. She had publicly accused Tiggy of having an abortion, of being pregnant by Prince Charles himself, of terminating a royal pregnancy in secret, at a Christmas party, in front of dozens of colleagues and staff members. based entirely on forged documents shown to her by a manipulative journalist who wanted ratings. The accusation was completely untrue. There had been no pregnancy, no abortion, no affair with Charles. Tiggy Legge-Bourke was guilty of nothing except caring deeply for two young princes who desperately needed stability during their parents' bitter war. But Diana, fed lie after lie by Martin Bashir, believed she was righteously confronting a woman who had committed the ultimate betrayal. Number 10. The legal response. The devastating public accusation demanded an immediate and forceful response, and Tiggy took decisive legal action. On the 18th of December 1995, just 4 days after the party, and with the Queen's explicit personal agreement, Tiggy instructed Peter Carter Ruck, one of the most famous libel lawyers in Britain, to write to Diana's solicitors demanding an apology and asking that the accusation be formally recognized to be totally untrue. The involvement of Peter Carter Ruck signaled how seriously Tiggy was taking the defamation of her character. This was not going to be quietly forgotten. An informed source was quoted at the time as saying the Queen was absolutely furious about the incident and totally in sympathy with Tiggy. The Queen herself, furious with Diana, taking Tiggy's side against the Princess of Wales. It was a devastating moment for Diana. She had made a terrible accusation in public based on lies fed to her by a journalist who cared nothing for the destruction he was causing, and now the palace establishment was closing ranks firmly against her. Number 11. The damage done. Diana never fully recovered from the Tiggy episode and its terrible aftermath. It was ludicrous, but at the time, she was beleaguered and felt completely isolated, a friend of the princess told the Daily Mail years later, trying to explain Diana's behavior. Also, at the time, Charles was being encouraged to drop Camilla, and it's easy to see how the idea of the personable Tiggy, who was single and well-connected, becoming close to the prince could take a grip in the princess's mind. The manipulation had worked with devastating perfection. Diana's natural insecurities as a mother had been weaponized against her. Her deepest fears had been transformed into public accusations that damaged her credibility and destroyed relationships. Just weeks later, Patrick Jepson resigned as Diana's private secretary. The Christmas confrontation was part of a downward spiral that left Diana increasingly isolated from the people who had supported and protected her. Number 12. Tiggy's continued role. Despite Diana's terrible accusations and the ugly public confrontation, Tiggy remained remarkably close to William and Harry. She continued as their trusted companion until 1999, when she married her childhood sweetheart, Charles Pettifer. Notably, neither Charles nor Camilla attended her wedding celebration, but both young princes were there to celebrate with her. That attendance spoke volumes about where William and Harry's loyalties truly lay. They chose Tiggy over any potential awkwardness with their father's circle. They chose the woman who had supported them through the absolute worst years of their childhood. After Diana's shocking death in August 1997, Tiggy's relationship with the princes grew even closer. She was there for them when they needed stability and understanding, when they needed someone who knew their world but wasn't caught up in the politics of the palace. William and Harry, aged 15 and 12 at the time of their mother's death, leaned heavily on Tiggy during their grief. She became, as Harry wrote with obvious affection, like a real big sister. Number 13. The 2021 Vindication. For 25 long years, the Christmas accusation hung over Tiggy's reputation like a dark cloud. The rumors Martin Bashir had maliciously spread had taken on a life of their own, repeated in books, articles, documentaries, and countless online discussions. Then came the Dyson report. The BBC finally commissioned an independent investigation into how Bashir had actually secured the Panorama interview. What Lord Dyson found was absolutely devastating to the broadcaster's reputation. Bashir had forged documents. He had deliberately spread lies about Tiggy. He had manipulated a vulnerable woman to get his career-making story. In 2022, Tiggy received substantial damages from the BBC. Some reports suggested the settlement amount was in excess of £100,000. More importantly than any money, she received a public apology from the BBC's Director General himself. broadcast to the nation. Number 14. Tiggy's statement. When the settlement was finally announced, Tiggy broke her decades-long public silence about her ordeal. "I am disappointed that it needed legal action for the BBC to recognize the serious harm I have been subjected to," she said in a formal statement released through her lawyers. "Sadly, I am one of many people whose lives have been scarred by the deceitful way in which the BBC Panorama was made, and the BBC's subsequent failure to properly investigate the making of the program for so many years." But her most powerful and moving words were about the royal family she had served so faithfully. "The distress caused to the royal family is a source of great upset to me," she continued. "I know firsthand how much they were affected at the time, and how the program and the false narrative it created have haunted the family in all the years since." Number 15. The Harry connection. Prince Harry has been perhaps the most vocal member of the royal family about Bashir's manipulation and its devastating consequences. "Our mother lost her life because of this," Harry said after the Dyson report was published, directly connecting the Panorama deception to Diana's death. "It's a stunning claim that a television interview secured through deliberate deception contributed directly to Diana's death in Paris. That the isolation, paranoia, and damaged relationships that followed the Panorama broadcast set Diana on a tragic path that led to that August night in the tunnel." Harry's relationship with Tiggy has remained remarkably strong, despite everything that happened. She was photographed at his wedding to Meghan Markle at St. George's Chapel in 2018. Reports suggest she may even be godmother to one of his children, the woman Diana hated. The woman Diana accused of the most terrible things, now close to Diana's youngest son, supporting him through his own battles. Harry knows the truth now. He knows his mother was cruelly manipulated by a journalist who cared nothing for the destruction he caused. He knows Tiggy was innocent of everything Diana accused her of. Like a real big sister, Harry wrote, Tiggy was not afraid to reprimand him for his behavior, even as an adult. She was among those who chastised him for his tell-all interview with Oprah. "How could you reveal such things about your family?" The woman Diana accused of betrayal has spent decades protecting Diana's sons, first from the chaos of their parents' war, then from their grief, and now from their own choices. That's the real story of Tiggy Legge-Bourke, not the villain Diana believed her to be, but a loyal, steadfast friend to the boys who needed her most. Tiggy knows Diana's darkest suspicions, but there's someone who documented everything, Diana's own secretary. In our next video, Patrick Jepson reveals the documents Charles wanted destroyed. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because the people who were there are finally speaking.